podcast will start in 3, 2, 1.
You guys are rolling.
Welcome to the Unqualified Professionals.
So we got Don's girlfriend here, right?
Yeah.
What's your name?
Bonneville.
That's your real name?
Yes, my real
That's
name.
her car. All right.
Yeah.
This dude appreciates that, I'm sure.
Oh,
Of course.
That's his thing. So what do you do? I like having all walks of life, and I think your career choice is amazing.
Well, my day job is a truck driver.
Okay.
And I was over the road for a little while. My whole career's been like about 10 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
So I started in 2013, got my license, and then went over the road to one of these companies that takes you right out of school. So once you get your CDL, you get taken. You know, there's a lot of companies that'll take people right out of school because they need truck drivers so bad, you know.
They call them training companies too, right?
Yeah, but a lot of companies now, I don't know about now, it's been 10 years. But, you know, a lot of companies back then didn't have their own schools. Maybe they have their own schools now, but and then they'll help you pay for it. But, you know, it's kind of a lot of an investment to make. It's about $3,500 for me to start.
Just to
get
into
the life.
the field?
Yeah, get into to do a private school, yeah.
That's really investing in yourself.
So then, did that for about a year and then get experience, bought my own truck. And for about 5 years, I drove for Landstar.
Okay.
And then I was an owner-operator. And then got out of that for a little while. Went back to factory work for a while, and that didn't go for... I was like, all right, you know what, I have a CDL.
Driving is my thing.
Yeah, and so, I'm like, I just like the road, you know? And so I, got back into it. I worked for Helm, the sheet metal union, for a while, driving their semi for about 6 months. It was okay, but it wasn't the type... I don't like construction sites. I like to be able to hit a dock. Solid dock, not up in the dirt, and you're trying to maneuver through the snow and the dirt, and it's like, man, I just want a dock. So I got out of that.
Docking.
I did, but anyway, so I got back into a regional kind of box truck job.
Okay,
so that's where I'm at now.
So as far as regional, so how far is because I had regional. In my corporate job, I have regional drivers, and they're like, "Yeah, I went to Kentucky," and I'm like, "Jesus, that's regional?"
Yeah, it's Midwest.
Okay,
that's the end of the Midwest. You get past that, you're in the South.
Okay,
but I think regional for me anyway is to Michigan and into Rockford, and then I did Iowa too a little bit here and there, but it's like Wisconsin, Iowa, some of the maybe the North Dakotas a little bit. That's getting out there. Anyway, you're really kind of regional, I think, when you go less than 600 miles of your round. You know what I mean? And that may be pushing it a little bit, but you can at least get to your destination within 8, 9, 10 hours, or within your 11-hour driving, because you can only drive 11 hours per day with the e-logs, the electronic logs. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I
seen that iPad. Because they got, our drivers get it. And it's it's even so bad to where so say I, in my 9-to-5 corporate job, I've talked about it before, on the very first episode, we have a social media clause, so I can't talk too much about the company or anything.
Okay,
So, but essentially, if we load a trailer, and we have a scale on site, so we know it's before you get on the road, you're not over your 80,000 for the legal limit, and if he even drives to the scale, just in our plant, he immediately that thing clicks on.
Yeah, if you go over 5 miles an hour, you're already on
so
driving.
Crazy.
Because you're within the working area, you can't put in personal conveyance, because you can technically, if you're so you get to your place where you're off duty and you want to go and you're at a grocery store or a restaurant or something, and you can be off duty because you're at the place where you need to be, but you want to go somewhere to go to the grocery store,
Burger King, or whatever.
Something to eat. You can personal conveyance within 2 hours or so. They give you about 2. It just depends on the company, because they can program all that stuff in there, whether how much they want you to use personal conveyance or not. And you could just go, and then you're still off duty. So it like it doesn't mess your clock up for you to start later. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's a real sketchy sort of personal conveyance. Is kind of like a lot of companies kind of tell you how much they want you to use of it, because you're only supposed to go from like, you're not supposed to move the load any farther. You know, you're not supposed to, so like you can't like personal conveyance to a shipper or receiver if you don't, or if you want to get there early and your hours aren't up.
Yeah.
So it's really, you just got to use it to like get to a hotel to sleep, or like get groceries or food, and then like that's basically it.
Some of them trucks though, man, they got some badass setups.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like I've seen a few.
Yeah,
and
they live in them.
Yeah. I mean, some of them
they don't go home.
It's truly their home. And you mentioned owner operator. You're still an owner operator today?
No, I'm not. No.
Okay.
No,
you said you like got out of it, but I wasn't sure if that's what you're still doing. So I was just asking.
No. Yep. No, I the truck got sold and everything. It was just too much money.
It's a lot. It's a lot of money because you cover everything yourself.
Yeah,
and
the maintenance is huge.
It's insane how much the cost is just to run that truck. And there is a lot, a lot of the, I mean, I'm sure you know this, but a lot of the truck driver lingo that are owner operators that I come across, they'll be like, if those wheels ain't turning, I'm not earning.
Right.
And but that's the 100% truth.
It is.
Because it is a lot of money. If you get a ticket, it's not paid for by the company; it's paid by you. Mm-hmm. You're essentially an independent contractor.
It's your license. So even like in my case, when I'm working for a company, it's still your license. You're still responsible for all the stuff in that truck, whether it's good, whether it's out of service. You're going to get points on your license. Well, the company gets points on their CSA points. Mm-hmm. Now that they've made laws where it'll affect the company when there's something wrong with the equipment also. Yeah. But still, that's your license.
It's just, it's your name. It's your consequences. Mm-hmm. And kind of like what we were talking before we actually picked up and started filming, was I encounter some female truck drivers in my line of work, not many, but my my biological father, when he got out of prison, that's one thing that they do is with CDLs, you can be a felon. And so he ended up cases, in some cases, but so he ended up becoming a truck driver, and then he married into a family where my step grandma, you would say, she's a truck driver, and she did it her whole life. I believe, and
very nice.
Essentially, as far as personally knowing, you're the first one besides my step grandma that I've ever met that's on a personal level. Yeah, well, the statistics are pretty low for female trucker, even still today. It's like 8%. I think, and that's like and that's like all, and that's I think only like 3 or 4% are like over the road all the time. You know what I mean? But like, I don't know where they're getting those numbers. I mean, I've seen that it was like a year ago, but like it doesn't like go up very much because it's very hard to like have, if you have kids or anything, or you have like your family, you want to be home time. It's really difficult to get into over the road. When it's the work-life balance is really hard sometimes.
I want you to share something to people that they might not know. So somebody like me that has just like a normal passenger vehicle in the state of Illinois, we don't have anything like a safety inspection. So trucks have to be 100% all the time, and sometimes could be randomly inspected. Could you actually tell people that don't have CDLs what that's like? How like you could like one burnt out headlight that costs $20 could delay the load, give you a ticket, and jeopardize your revenue for that particular company if you're an independent contractor. Just share what that kind of stress level is to someone that doesn't understand that.
So like if anybody is out on the interstate, right, and you see the weigh station. Well, if you don't have a pre-pass, or even sometimes if you do, if they like blink you red, you got to go in. And if we don't have pre-pass with our company, so we always have to go into the scales. So, you go in there and then they want to weigh you. They have a lot of the times where they have like, they can weigh you and see the weights as you're rolling slowly over the pad. if they want to look at you closer, you go over, right? And then you sit on their pad and they really look at you.
Yeah.
And then they check your whole numbers and everything. They can run that right from their little booth. And if they say, oh, something might be wrong, come around the back, we'll give you an inspection.
Mhm.
Or they just do that randomly.
Yeah.
So if, say, you have a headlight off, you don't have the bulb to change it right then you have to, like, call a service guy to come out and give you a bulb, because that's a point off your license. I mean, off your, that's a violation.
Yeah.
All lights have, everything has to be working, brakes, everything. They'll check everything. There's 3 different levels of inspection too. So I haven't had them enough, but luckily, I think the level 1 is like the most like in depth, where they get under it and everything. They look at all your drive shafts and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if they find anything wrong, they're gonna put you out of service.
It's funny you said that. So we had a driver, and he went down to Texas. He ended up getting a trailer load of oil. He's coming back. He hits the weigh station, and now he's also by the border in Texas, like McAllen, if I'm not mistaken. That's pretty much on the border. Yeah,
and been down there before. Mm-hmm.
So he goes there, gets this full on, and they're like, your weights ain't matching out of nowhere. Yeah. And he's now, if your weights ain't matching, that's a big no-no. That's a huge shit. Yeah. The inspector came, and right as the inspector was walking up, he looked. Dude, I kid you not, it was just like the movie The Vacation, with the more recent one. Dude, fucking migrants came out from under his fucking cab.
No.
Yeah, dude, there's just fucking people that were fucking hooked on to the fucking bottom, ready to fucking go.
Good, yeah.
Dude, and he was like, I swear to God, they held him at the inspect for a day or two. He had to get the company had to sign off. Yeah. He went through a lot of shit, and he had nothing to do with it, but it kind of goes hand in hand with what he was saying. How something small he didn't even know about held up a whole day's worth of driving, a whole day's worth of production.
That's why I did get a little kind of nervous down there. I mean, they have really tight security down there, but they do have checkpoints down there. But when you get to Laredo, border towns and everything, and they have border patrol all over the place, and they want to make sure if you're a United States citizen.
There's a lot of mules.
And then there's dogs, and then they have the X-ray machines. They take pictures of you while you're going. Yeah, dude, it's pretty crazy. And but yeah, it's crazy. But I never had anything with the Landstar yards. They're pretty well secure, but the bills come in kilogram though, because it comes from over the, and you gotta decode. Oh God, what's the weight?
Yeah, some of the Canadian customer I got liters.
Okay,
so
yeah.
I feel
pretty
that
close to Canada, up in Port Huron too. So it's kind of interesting.
I think there's another thing you should share with those. I'm just pretending that I know nothing about truck driving, which I don't. But for those that know even less than nothing, tell them about your little hazmat story and the one and only time you got pulled over, how that went, what you were pulling. I think that's a pretty unique position.
Hazmat ain't no shit.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
They get real about
that.
So this one was able to do hazmat work. So can you explain what it took to do it and what you were pulling?
So so what he's talking about is the time, because when I drove for Landstar, after a couple years I got into the ammo and explosives division. And when they, and a lot of it is you can't talk too much about it because they don't like you to do too much, but you go to a lot of Army, National Guard places and just deliver stuff there and whatnot. But, regardless of, what, you're either hauling weapons or explosives and stuff like that for the military. So,
come on.
Yeah, there was one time that I had to go down a road to get to an Army National Guard place, and trucks aren't allowed down there, but the only other way in was even worse, through a small little town. And I'm like, well, hey, I have to get down there, know? So went in there, delivered it. They were nice, and then came back out, and I seen a cop sitting right there on the median. And I'm like, okay, he's going to get me because I'm not supposed to be on this road.
Yeah, there is certain roads you guys are not allowed to be on.
Yeah, and it wasn't very far from the place. But anyway, so we just kind of roll, and he whoop right behind me. And I already had the bills ready. I had the license ready. I had the medical card. I had everything ready. And he took one look at the bills to see what we had just delivered down there. And he's like, have a nice day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're just like, yeah, you're not. I mean, oh yeah, well,
You have to get there somehow. I'm sure that's what he was thinking.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, okay, you don't want to see my license or anything?
As long as it's for the U.S. government, I guess we're all good.
No, they don't mess
They're
with
willing
that.
to just
They
fucking
won't,
take
no.
it and leave it and do whatever.
No, what's crazy with those kind of loads, like Department of Defense and stuff, and you're followed by satellite tracking and everything constantly. And they've told us that if someone cop tries to be like, oh, but I need to see inside this trailer, they're like, if you show them this paper, right? And if they think that they still want to break that seal after that, they are not going to have a good time.
That's a big no-no too. And in my line of work too, like when we put on seals, if they show up broken, you cannot even. You don't even touch it.
No.
Like they won't even. We won't even touch it. It's a policy.
A lot of hazmat stuff is like that. A lot of like food grade stuff is even like that though. That's really, really,
Well, it has to be super clean too. Like there's trailer washes,
right?
You know, that make it like super sterile.
Yeah, because I talked to a guy that does the food grade stuff with like oils and stuff like that for food, all kinds of stuff like that, and you have to go over and get like an empty that's cleaned and steamed, and then they have to like certify all that it's been steamed right, and then if your paperwork or your seal's not matching one or the other, they'll reject the clean trailer. They're not going to bring that stuff in, so it's a real big deal, you know.
There's a food grade plant that is actually, you know, I work in an industrial area. I work with oil, so right by me is a steel mill on one side, and then you go down the street a little bit, and there's a Maisel company that deals with corn, starch, sugars. It's called Cargill. And they do the food grade tanks and everything. That's where he delivers a lot. Yeah, see Cargill, yep. Shout out to Cargill. But that's true though. They will and you see how the food comes, like the corn comes in, and it comes in just like on a tank tray like you would see, but that it's wild how clean
it is. It has to be, which is really good.
Oh yeah, I mean, nobody wants dirty corn, but
which is good that it's so good on like keeping that safe, because man, if that stuff gets messed up one way on the supply chain, there could be some disease in food, and oh my god, it's crazy how all the transportation industry and everything works, and how if one little thing gets messed up, it just is a domino effect on like the whole like supply chain. Yeah. You know, like just how when COVID was happening with all the shipping containers coming in from, you know, China and everything when they're trying to get and that's another whole situation. The whole cargo containers and people who have to run those ports. Man,
and
ports
the intermodals and everything like that.
Ports are busy. I hated ports.
So
I only went in there a couple times, but with little trailers that we were in there for one reason or another, and then, but man, ports are so busy. You just wait and wait and wait to get in line. You know, that's another thing with truck drivers. Hurry up and wait.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's what they all say. Hurry up and wait.
They do.
So I want to give you a little pop quiz, and not like we're going to go in like no detail. I have some truck driving terms right here, and because you've been in the business so long, I know you can answer these. So I want you to tell me what they mean in the simplest form. Are you ready?
Sure.
Bobtail.
That means a truck that doesn't have a trailer.
Yep.
What's a reefer?
It is a refrigerated trailer.
What is a fifth wheel?
It is the plate that you slide and it goes back and hits the.
And what is a kingpin?
That's the part on the trailer that you back up into, and then your fifth wheel connects to it. And
finally, what is a cab over?
That is a truck that is flat nose. It has the engine actually up in the where the driver is. You're like basically sitting next to it.
I've never heard of that one yet.
Yeah.
That was the only one I didn't know. I knew all those other terms he said.
All right, bonus question. Who composed the song Convoy?
C.W. McCall.
We got the real deal right here.
Yes,
this is the badass woman truck driver
Wolf
right
Creek
here.
Pass. Look it up.
Yes.
There you go. Yeah. That's a good one.
So, as far as truck driving goes, you come across like all walks of life.
Oh yeah.
You know, and
I've been all over the country too.
Yeah, and one thing you do notice is like there's different people in every state. There's people act differently from Chicago as they do to like what you were telling me before we started filming. You know, you went down to Arizona. Yeah. There's different types of people. So, you know, give me some insight. What's some crazies? Because I don't. I'll tell one of my crazy stories, and it happened to me today. But I'll do it after you go ahead. It was fucked up, dude. I almost like I was fearing for my life. I almost, go ahead.
Whoa.
Okay, so there's East Coast. I wasn't a lot in the East Coast very much, but like when you're down south and like there's a lot of people that really have a hard time. There's a lot of bums. You try to be nice to them, but man, they'll just keep bothering you.
Yeah.
They keep coming back and bothering you, but you just don't. You just kind of gotta ignore them. It sucks, but like. Sometimes you can. I've heard other drivers say, "Okay, you can offer them. Well, I don't have money, but I can like buy you a meal.
Give you a sandwich.
Buy you a meal."
Yeah.
But you know what? They don't want that. They're like, "Oh no,
no, they want money for their alcohol or drugs."
I know. So it's really bad. But I think there's been some weird characters, man. So when I was down in Laredo one time, that could be you gotta be a little careful around there. But it's okay. Everybody's just really busy.
Yeah.
But there was one, this is kind of funny because there was one guy, I just had to like drop and hook a load and then I had to have him sign the bills. And I brought the bills into him and he was supposed to sign them and everything. And I come back and I look at the bills and he's like, "If you're ever down here, call me." He gave me his number on the bill.
On the bill? How am I supposed to put this back into the company? What am I going to do?
What the hell?
For a good time, call Ray.
It was basically like that.
Call
And
Ray.
oh my! And the worst part about it is that he didn't sign it in the right place, so I had to go back in and be like, "Yeah, I need you to sign this here."
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That was an awkward conversation.
I had to have a signature in the right place.
That is true, yeah.
And then I had to call.
That is true, because even on our bills, when we load out, they have to put their tractor and driver's signature for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I'm like, tractor, driver's signature right here. They're right next to each other on the top right. They always go bottom right. And I'm like,
Yeah,
come
dude.
on,
and so, what I had to do was I had to like cover that up with like paper and then scan it in that way.
so it looked like
and,
white out.
Yeah, I had to do that. And then that was, down there. And then I would I just get a lot of, you're a truck driver? Oh my God. I'm like, or whatever. But then, having to like go in and get showers when you're over the road, you have to like go in and, man, some of those places down south are just not in the best condition. They're nasty.
Ugh.
I never had any real problem, but man, there was this one time, this old guy in Dallas, Texas, he thought he was just going to be my protector. Some old white guy.
Some old dude.
White.
They feel that way.
He was just like
on a different level.
I gotta protect you. He was so racist though.
Oh,
I'm like,
dude.
Oh shit. I'm like, okay. I'm just standing here trying to wait, and he's like, gotta watch that. I'm like, I couldn't believe it. I'm like,
racism to me
I
is
don't want this.
I
don't need protection.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, it's fine.
Racism to me is one of those just stupid
You
ideals
get those people
anymore.
like that
everyone,
down there, and
to me, everyone's the same.
He was like real old school, like
There's good and bad.
but it's
there's
just
good
like,
and bad in every race.
There is, but like I have gotten that,
All
not
classes.
asking for. I'm like, dude, it's fine, dude. It's like brightly lit in here, and nothing's gonna happen. Nothing's gonna happen to me. I'm fine. You don't need to be my protector.
In the middle of a stop like that too, because most of the showers right there at like a public area.
They're big, they're nice, they're clean. There's people working. They're fine.
I could picture a little Walter White right here. I am the danger.
Yeah,
I am the one who knocks.
But
this is who
you come
she
around
is.
all kinds of people.
So
all kinds.
I found out my neighbor is a fucking psycho. Like before I came here today, I was I was about to drive and leave here. I was going to my garage. I just bought like a new socket organizer. And anybody who's been to my house knows like I have a little dog run where it's like a fenced in area right here. But then when you go out of that dog run, it leads into my bigger yard and that's all fenced in.
Oh yeah.
Well, there's this neighbor behind me that like has this vicious pit bull dog, and it is a fucking it's not nice at all. It has no nice bone in its body, and it's the ones you read about on the news. Let's put it to you that way.
Okay.
And I'm trying to be cool with it. It's been like 6 months. This dog just keeps getting in my yard. Well, it ended up I fixed the fence, and it chewed a hole through my chain link fence. It was fucked up. So he was out there today, and the dog was about to kill me.
God.
So I went to his house like a week ago, and he didn't answer the door, but his wife did. And I was like, hey, I've been pretty passive on this. Like, can you please keep your dog, kind of in its yard or get a better leash or a chain or something? they did, and it's been okay, but today was like the final straw. So I went over there again today. My wife answers the door. I'm cool with her. Like, hey, I'm not coming off shitty or trying to, at least.
Right.
The fucking dude, I've never seen him before in my life, that lived there. He comes up. He's like, "What's the problem?" He's roided out of his brain.
Oh my
He's
God.
6'2". Look, and he has a shirt that says fucking bodybuilder across the chest. And I'm looking at him sizing me up, and I'm sizing him up. And he's like, "Hey, you came over here last week. You were shitty to my wife." And I'm like, "Dude, no, I'm not trying to be shitty." He's like, "Do not call me dude." And I'm like, your dog ripped a hole. You have to understand my point of view, bro. Like, your dog ripped through my fence. He's like, maybe if it was fixed properly. I'm like, I fixed it once, but it just ate through it.
Yeah.
So dude, I swear to God, like, I've never been in more fear for my life. Like, I'm not a fucking punk ass, but dude, that dude fucking made me shake to the bone for a second. But he was like, "Don't call me dude." He goes, "I'm gonna put down the dog. Now get the fuck out of my." He goes, "Get the fuck off my front porch." And I'm like, "Yes, sir." Dude,
I guess the dog is crazy.
Dude, he said he was gonna put it down. I'm like, "Bro, you don't gotta put it down. I'm not saying all that." Like, dude, no, if it's vicious, it's gotta go. I'm like, all right.
You're vicious. You gotta go.
Yeah, right.
So
he scared the shit out of me. I've never experienced roid rage till today.
Nice.
I want to share real fast, actually, my first interaction with a truck driver.
Yeah.
And then this is gonna go back to you. Okay. So one day I was driving to high school and I blew out a tire and I hit a piece of metal that was on the road, and my parents didn't let me work on my car at all. But when it happened, I was actually happy. Like, cool, I can take out the tools, I can change a tire. I've never done this before, but I was like, I get to do it. So what happened, I pulled over at a gas station. It's like 8 o'clock. I actually pulled over in a truck stop. And so I was trying to get the tire out. And before I get the tire out, I had to empty out the back of the car. And I had a guitar in the back. I had my backpack. So I took all that stuff out. And I'm kind of bent over because the tire's in a weird place in that particular car. So basically, when I'm doing it, my butt is like to the sky to like reach to get to undo the tire that's by the subwoofer. Yeah. Well, I heard some trucks honking because my butt is
your butt.
Yeah.
He's like, get in there.
My little bat butt, which she's named Harold. My ass has a name, and so the bottom line is that I was doing the work, and then a truck driver pulls up to me. And he's like, "Hey," I'm like, "What's up?" And then he reaches in the cab, he pulls out a drumstick because he saw my guitar.
Oh, that's cool.
So I actually never told this anybody before. So to me, it kind of shows that truck drivers aren't just they're not just drivers. A lot of them are artists too, or musicians or something. And that actually reminds me of what you like to do when you're not driving. I mean, you're an artist. Could you tell people, I mean, you're technically a semi-professional artist too, because you do get paid to do work.
Yeah, I do quite a bit of different stuff, yeah.
And
Thanks.
and you do great work. You're in demand. This is not a one-time thing. You kind of have you have a waiting list.
Yeah.
So tell us about what you do when you're not driving.
Okay, well, I do illustrations and stuff like that, and tattoo designs and paintings and cosplay, and it's like a whole I can't even put it into like one
you're just an artist.
Yeah. It's like multi media stuff. So, but like I just recently at the beginning of the year, I did these large like mirrored butterfly wings for a photography studio.
Yeah.
And she's been using them for clients and stuff. So she was super happy with that. And it was my whole own design and everything. I built like a substructure out of it that was flexible yet, firm enough to stay up. Because there's about 4 foot wingspan on it. And and so I found this mirrored vinyl and put it on the foam and everything, and I made it look like mosaic.
Yeah.
So I did that, and then I just did a graphite portrait for my aunt. So
was that the one you showed me?
Yep, I did. Yeah,
that's so good.
Yeah, and then the painting is going on right now for those the dogs. And that was through the photography studio where she was giving away some stuff through her page, and she wanted to know if like any local artists wanted to like kind of donate their time and effort to, people who are winning stuff on the site. So she does a lot of little things like that, and I did a really big painting for her studio that's still in her studio now. So it's like a big flower with peonies and dahlias and stuff like that, and it's like a 4x8 foot canvas.
Damn.
And I actually had to use my work truck to bring, and he helped me bring the canvas over because we had to park in the parking lot next door and bring it over in the box truck. That's the only way that was going to be. And then I do take my stuff with me on the road, like to the hotel and stuff. I can bring like a smaller canvas and a few paints because I have like a little tabletop easel. Yeah. And it's all fully adjustable and everything, but it's nice. It folds up and it's just like a nice little thing. And I take that with me sometimes. Yeah.
Like what we were talking about before we even...
Yeah, it is.
Oh, boy. Don't do this again. But
no liquid on the microphones this time.
Right before we started filming, we were talking about how, I listen to audiobooks, I'm by myself, and I tell people that all the time, like, dude, some of these people, when they get loaded at my job, these drivers, they want to just talk.
Oh yeah,
and
they do.
The reason why, I find I don't try to always like just be so dismissive. Right. I try to find like some sort of understanding, and the way I did it was like, dude, look, these guys are probably driving 8, 10, 16 hours, depending on how everything is. Yeah, I don't know the regulations. I could be wrong, but say 8 to 10 hours.
No more than 11 hours.
Yeah, no more than 11. Okay, so 8 to 11 hours.
When you have partners, it's different.
By themselves, most times.
Yes.
Most times you can't show up into place with a companion or somebody. No. A lot of people do not let you in with a guest.
Right.
There's a lot of places don't. Right.
No, he's gonna come with me in the next.
There's a few.
Weeks.
She's gonna let me do a ride along.
No,
I'll be your little dog with my face out the window. Look at all the cars. We're in Detroit.
Yeah. There is a few, but the one thing I try to just portray to people is like, dude, they're driving alone, 8, 10, 11 hours, whatever it may have you. This is their only human contact.
Yeah. Right, it can be.
Like, I'm not saying humor them, but at least be cool. Like, they are human too.
Right.
So it's just good to get that insight with you. And especially from a female's point of view. I see it all the time from a male's point of view. So I kind of know that. But it's really good to get that from your point of view.
Yeah. I mean, people don't usually, they usually they're pretty respectful out there,
I'm respectful when I'm driving. Because I know you guys can just squash me.
I mean, other drivers.
You guys can fucking squash me like a bug.
Being a female, it really hasn't meant too much, like, in terms of, like, just doing whatever I want anyway. It really didn't hold me back that way. It didn't really, you just gotta be aware of your surroundings constantly. And it has a lot to do with if you are looking up I've always walked fast. I don't know what's my problem. I'm a type A personality or something. So I'm like always walking fast, and they're not gonna mess with you if you're like paying attention, walking fast, and you're just getting in and out. Yeah. And so, that has a lot to do with it. But I've never really had any problems like that in terms of that. But drivers, like four-wheelers, as they call them, they don't understand that it's 80,000 pounds cannot stop on a dime.
No.
And nobody really, they don't understand it. So, yeah.
Right. And speaking of like not having a lot of human interaction on the road, this is why we talk to each other like every day, because like I'll she will be sleeping at a hotel twice a week, so every day I'll call her, she'll call, just have some human interaction to keep our sanity. Like,
it's true.
Simple as that. Just like simple as like saying, hey, I made breakfast and the cat woke me up. Like something simple like that, and she could say that a marauder cut me off, but I'll allow it because I like marauders. Yeah, so it's interesting, and
whoa, like, oh my god, that was a marauder.
Right. So I have about an hour to commute to where I need to go. So that'll be like we'll be on the phone with each other for like an hour and a half, and I think that's actually very healthy if you're with any couple, if you're going to be spending time away from each other. Every week.
Headset on.
I'll have the Bluetooth, and sometimes we'll like send each other like links and stuff to listen to. Like if she listened to something while she wasn't speaking to me all day, like here, you should listen to this, and whether it's good or bad. I won't say bad content, but it's like here's something about you that you didn't know about you, and then I'll send something to her and like here, this explains a little bit of ourselves. And
you know what? Technology has really helped with being able to listen to stuff and listen to audiobooks and stuff like that, and you're able to do that. Before they all had the radio, they had the CB. And they still have the CB, but a lot of people don't use the CB anymore.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So
why do you think that is?
I don't know, because, everybody has cell phones now.
So last question before we kind of wrap this up.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any opposite of a lot lizard? You got dudes that come up to your shit?
No.
No? I'm just asking. Figured it was
I've
a lot dog.
Figured it was a good question, right?
I've never heard that there's been stuff like that.
Yeah.
No, they just want
like a lot gigolo?
They want money just to spend on drugs.
Right on.
Yeah.
All right.
But no, I have not seen that. No.
Okay.
I'm sure there is.
Yeah.
I want to see why not.
There has to be.
Like a dude pimp that comes out with a bunch of dudes.
Well, the market's so small, I think, because there's so few women drivers.
Yeah.
Well,
you never know.
There definitely is, people that aren't.
Well, hold on a second. I'm sure there's some fruitcake drivers out there.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
let's not beat around the bush here.
Right.
There's people. There's queers in every industry.
Right.
That has to be. There's got to be a male truck driver looking for a male partner for half an hour in the sleeper cabin.
I just don't know. I always had I didn't need any of that. So
good.
I had a partner. I had a partner.
That's great.
Not getting
good start.
Not getting any infections from the love station.
It was awesome. It was really awesome getting that insight, getting to hear your opinions and how people can really see more about how it is being in that line of work. So
it's fun. It is fun, but it's stressful. Every day is different.
Mm-hmm.
Every day is different. So I think that's what's nice about it too, is because you can kind of just be in your own space and not have to deal with anybody telling you what to do or here. You know where you're going. You got to just get there on time and just drive and just be safe. You know, don't be in a hurry. That's all I gotta say. Don't be in a hurry.
Hurry up and wait.
Yeah, but when you don't let anybody tell you to drive the truck faster than you feel comfortable in any of the conditions. So you just gotta, just always maintain that, it's your license, and in the snow, drive like you don't have brakes.
Well, I appreciate you being on. I appreciate this segment. Mm-hmm. It was awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
thank you.
No problem. Yeah.
Thanks for having her.
All right, that's a wrap.
Thank you for watching and listening to the Unqualified Professionals. Follow us on SoundCloud, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
That's entertainment.